evening, everyone, and welcome to the Systems Lab Live. We are live on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. So, very excited to be here with you all tonight. This is the November 28th edition of the Systems Lab Live. We have a lot in store for the last live stream of the month, and the title of this live stream is called Not Wasting God's Time, My Journey with Time Management. And so we're going to get into what all of that means and more. But if you're here for the very first time and you're wondering, I've never really seen this before. I've seen you pop up every now and again. Systems Lab Live is for if you are an implementation pro, if you're a project manager, if you're someone that is leading, guiding, directing tasks, projects, and teams, this is the channel for you. All right. And so what we do here every single week is we talk about the everyday work. We talk about productivity, trends. We go over reports. We go over different types of apps and how you can use them inside of your business, inside of your organization, within your brand. We also talk about tips and tricks for managing projects and developing processes. So we're here every week talking about these everyday work principles and strategies. All right. So, we have in the building T leads. We have Miss Tiara Roberts in the building. Great to see you. Great to see you as always. So what else do we have in store for tonight? Before I bring up the agenda, for those of you that are looking for replay or visuals, especially those that are on Instagram, of course, you can go to the YouTube channel and you can subscribe there and just catch the replay there. But what types of things are you guys focused on for the last 4 to 5 weeks of the year? Some people are vacationing. Some people are hard at work. Some people are re-strategizing. We know Black Friday. What else? Small Business Saturday. We have Cyber Monday. Today's Monday. We have a lot that's happening between now and the 31st of December. And I put out a few different social media posts on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. Yes, all three of those platforms. And mostly what I've been talking about and focusing it on is what happens after the launch, after the sale. And it's something I like to call it's the best practice in the project management world, but it's lessons learned. It's lessons learned. And so I have a couple of posts if you follow me on Twitter or on Instagram, and then I will be posting something on LinkedIn very shortly. But it's all about what do you do after it's all done. And we have a tendency to move on to the next thing. And so for me, I'm like, no, don't move on to the next thing quite yet. Don't do that. What you want to do is you want to take a second or two or another day, schedule out some time with you and your team, and just review the numbers, review the process. What happened during the planning process? What happened at the start of this launch of this product, this service, this new thing that you're launching? Okay. And then from there, let's talk about what happened when you were executing. Let's talk about the actual launch itself. Let's talk about the KPIs and the goals. And did you make any money, or did anything go wrong, or, what things could have been better? And so what does that do? Because a lot of people are like, is that necessarily a waste of time? And some people say, well, I already do that. And while I've heard people say I do this often, but here's where I want to stretch and push you. I want you to conduct it in a workshop format type of way. What does that mean exactly? I want you to really sit down and really create some sort of document of sorts, right? And this can really be something that can be really of a useful exercise, and have every single team member answer a series of questions. Have this to be documented and stored within your project repository. See, we haven't necessarily talked a lot about what does it mean to build a project repository. We talked about personal knowledge management, and we talked about that earlier, I believe in August, when we were talking about the everyday work session 3. But when we get into the new year, we will be talking about some of these nuanced topics of project repositories and why that is important to start to store projects that you've worked on. It doesn't matter how big, how small, how much money you made or didn't make from it. This is things that you're working on for clients. You don't have to tell nobody about it, but this is really about you creating. I'm really big on this, creating a paper trail. And that's what my LinkedIn post is going to be about in a few minutes. Is that, well, after this live is going to be about the importance of creating a paper trail of what you're doing, how you're doing it, what was the strategy, what was the approach. And some of that, again, when we start getting into the project repository, there's different there's some templates, there's some ideas, there's some things that I'll definitely want to communicate to you all down the road. But project repositories are important, a place where you can store all of the projects that you have worked on, folder by folder, right? Case by case. It's almost like a case study, but a little bit more in depth. It's a library where you can be able to pull out information and pull on the strategy and review it, come up with something new, see the trends, see what's going on. All right, as you can see, I can go in for a minute on this. So what I'd like to do right now is share my good old screen and get into, oh, we want to share screen. I want to get into the first segment of the show, and I'm actually going to press play. Where are we at? Okay. We're going to press play, and we got the title screen right here. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to Miro, Team Miro. We have been creating presentation decks for all of the Systems Lab Live for the fourth quarter, a little bit of the third quarter. I actually just tweeted them today and mentioned, I think in one of the stories, how much I'm enjoying utilizing the tool. I think it's a super, super really cool, powerful tool. You guys know I've been using Whimsical for years. There's something so familiar with Whimsical that I'm probably never going to get rid of Whimsical. But am I going to get rid of Miro? I don't know. And the question is, do I really need both? Probably not, but we can make a key decision on that by January 1 of next year. So that is too funny. But yeah, here we are. Systems Lab Live presentation deck powered by Miro. Very, very excited about that. And I'm going to go to the next slide. On the agenda today, we're going to be talking about Black tech news, something I'm going to start infiltrating and integrating into the flow. The flow of this is we're going to be talking about Black tech news and things. I'm actually going to pull up also my notes that I have for Notion. Come on. And we have lots to talk about. The Black tech news piece is going to be key because, I'm digging what I'm learning in this space this year. I really am. Biblical principles of time management. We're going to talk about my journey. And then I'm going to give you all some what's next, which are just next steps. What can you do? How you can implement. I think that is very, very important. Okay. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. I'm going to go to the Systems Lab Live. I do need to clean up. Well, I wonder if you can transfer templates to other spaces. And you can. Wonderful. I'm glad I I'm glad I figured that out live because I think I want to clean up a lot of my Notion spaces. One of the things that I use Notion for in particular is anything that has to do with like note taking. Like this is where I am bridging the gap between all the thoughts that I have. We put them in Notion. We put them in Notion. So let's go into this piece right here. So that's what we have going on here. All right, let's moda. All right, 3 things that I want to highlight real quick. Spelman College and Spotify have a brand new partnership. Spelman College and Spotify. Okay. So this is like super, super exciting. Spotify has a next gen audio program that is going to be launched with in partnership with Spelman University. So this is huge, right? Spotify, they are tapping into amplifying the voices of all types of content creators. They've create programs like Sound Up Frequency Equal to showcase and uplift the diverse roster of artists, musicians, songwriters, and podcasters on their platform while creating spaces for new voices, stories, and perspectives. I've not heard of any of these programs, by the way, Sound Up Frequency or Equal, but it's really cool that they are essentially announcing the expansion of Next Gen. It's their ongoing platform, Spotify's ongoing program designed to infuse, activate, and grow podcast culture on college campuses to historically Black colleges and universities across the US. So it is supported by the Spotify Equity Fund, Creator Equity Fund, and Spelman is the first HBCU to offer next gen programming beginning early next year during the spring semester, which is really cool. Dr. Helen Gale, president of of Spelman College, says, "We look forward to collaborating with Spotify on the new next gen programming that will be offered to help further elevate the voices and creative content of our students." So here are some of the initiatives of Next Gen. So they're going to dedicated on-campus podcast recording space with professional equipment, huge. Events featuring Spotify executives and podcast talent. That's great. Spotify support of existing relevant curriculum and access to tailored training programs, co-creation of student-led original audio content, potential academic scholarship support, invitation and consideration for Spelman students to participate in Spotify's 10-week internship program. Huge, huge. Why is this huge? Why is this something that I wanted to highlight and celebrate? Well, for one, we are living in an unprecedented time of the creator's economy. And so it's expanding. There's literally no rules for this. And I love the fact that big corporations like Spotify are partnering with educational institutions and the students, right? Creating this platform so that the next generation of artists, creatives, activists, educators, and individuals are going to be able to utilize Spotify's resources to create content. And I love it. And I'm really excited to see what comes up from this partnership. This is going to be, again, crucial, 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 crucial. All right, so Goody Nation. So here's the second thing. Wanted to go back here. The Tech Equity Collective Impact Fund, powered by Goody Nation, is going to distribute 1 million to Black and allying organizations within the U.S., which supports Black professionals with a focus on software developer roles entering tech. So this is a time sensitive type of application. Okay. And so you applications close on November 30th. So if you are looking to apply, you got to do it in a couple of days because they're going to be notified on December 23rd. So they have all sorts of requirements for this impact fund, but I thought this was, again, fantastic tech. It's the future, right? And it is really, really important that as Black and Brown tech professionals, we are we're tapped in. We're tapped into these corporations. We're tapped into building, right? So whether if you're a software developer or not, well, no, you have to be a software or a tech developer. Yeah, you want to tap in. It's really good. So if you go and type in goodynation.org, um, they have the they have the they have it right there on their homepage. So I will actually put that in the comments in case people want to see that, or a banner. I should probably just put a little banner up too. Mark says he's ready to hear about this. Okay, I think I didn't show it. Boop. This is it. goodynation.org/tech equity collective impact fund. So you can probably Google it and it'll probably pop up. Last but not least, HBCU Go. Dr. Byron, well, child, is he a doctor? I just be putting doctors in front of everybody, but it doesn't matter. It's Byron Allen. Strikes a deal with CBS to bring HBCU sports to major broadcast and streaming platforms. Byron Allen's media group, he has HBCU Go to broadcast to CBS affiliated duopoly stations. Duopoly stations. I have never heard of that word before, but we will look it up. I think it must be like sub-affiliated stations. What does that mean? Um, yeah, it's like a different type of situation, right? Two or more stations in the same city. I'm glad that we know about this. Okay, great. So that's HBCU Go. That's going to be in New York, LA, Philly, Dallas, Atlanta, San Francisco, Boston, Seattle, Tampa, Detroit, Miami, Pittsburgh. I will say this. This is fantastic. I've never seen HBCU sports live. No, I have not. Nope, I have not. Even though I was near an HBCU, because I went to the College of William and Mary, and so we were not that very far from Hampton or Virginia Union or that Tidewater region area. No, I have not. I haven't been to a sporting event, but I probably should. Number one, and then number two, I did sign up for HBCU Go, so what I will look to do is I will look to start watching. That's how I'm going to. That's how I'm going to support. That's how I'm going to support. I'm gonna go ahead and support. Let's see. Any notable quotes? I'm just looking at this article. Let's see. We are proud to amplify these amazing athletes in HBCUs while at the same time helping to finance the education of these young adults. Now, sports fans across the country will have access to the best in class games from America's HBCUs. And the HBCU Go app. Oh, there's an app. I believe you can access this Amazon Fire TV, Apple, Roku. I want to say that is where I saw it. I'm going on the website right now. Oh, wow. Prairie View versus Grambling State. They're playing the game right now. 34-14 Prairie View. Come through. Yeah, they have everybody. Everybody, I think. Okay. HBC coaching legends. Yeah, this is like a whole thing. Settings, schedule, how to watch. Okay, here we go. Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or the web. Download any of our apps and watch free content. Okay, so I have Fire TV. Yeah, that's it. I don't have Apple TV. That's all I got. Okay, so but you can also view this on the web, which is great. All right, love this a lot. Okay, so let me go back into the app. Let me go back into the app. Oh, hold on. Share screen, Chrome tab. Here we go. You know, I have to car. Okay, and I'm going to go back. We got to go back into the presentation mode. Okay, here we go. Bloop, bloop. All right, y'all. Here we go for the main event. Here we are. We're back. We're back in the mix. Not wasting God's time. Biblical principles of time management. Ooh, we got our tea. Decaf Earl Grey, by the way. I will be debuting a new cup very soon, powered by my cousin-in-law. So that should be very exciting for you all to see it. It's a really cool cup. Not wasting God's time. Today, we're going to be talking about time management. Time management from a different perspective. We're going to talk about my journey with time management. We're going to be talking about some biblical principles of time management. And I want to really talk about this from the perspective of, you know, this isn't about having a gimmick or here's my best formula for it. I really want to just talk and have this conversation, because in the systems lab live, see, and here's where this is where it becomes pretty cool. Systems lab live is not just for the practical, like, here's something and I'm going to show you how to use it, right? I am always going to strive in some form or fashion to integrate real life experiences and examples. Not trying to show you all any perfection at all, not at all. But I seek to share perspective, and I seek to share a different way of learning and a different way of looking at things. And I believe that our lives are just made up of systems. And I believe from faith to time management, to exercise, to fitness, to health, to operations, it's all a system. So what's happening, Generation Wealth 412. Great to see you in the house. We are just in time because we are talking about biblical principles of time management. We're going to talk a little bit about my journey. Let's go to the next slide, because we're going to kind of take a trip down memory lane. And I'm kind of excited about that. I'm pretty excited about that perspective, because here's a couple things. Time management. So we can level set on definition. Time management is the process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between specific activities. That's what time management is. The process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between specific activities. We often say that we don't have enough time. There's not enough time within a day, or I'm running out of time. How many of us have said that, right? Say it all the time. I wish I had more time. I wish I could add more hours in the day. I wish I could duplicate myself. Okay? I'm telling you. I know I'm not the only one. You got to put a comment in there. Y'all can't leave me hanging. So how is it? Start thinking about how is it that you organize and plan your time between specific activities? How do you do that? Let's start thinking. Let's start writing something down. The early years of Ashley, me, and time management. Let's look at this. Let's take my overlay off. The early years of Ashley. You see that? Young Ash from when I was little, and this is about 8th grade. I went to Catholic school, Nativity Catholic School, Burke, Virginia. Shout out to that. Shout out to my longtime friend, Sarah Corfanta. Okay? 5th grade, folks. 5th grade. But this is my 8th grade picture, 8th grade graduation. Okay? With my cousins. Okay? On the other side, you have Michael, and then the other side, you got Adam, and then you got Jason right there. Now we're all full grown adults. Okay? We're not that little. But in the early years, and I just want, because there's a misconception, and it's not totally wrong, where for me it's like I get a lot of you've always been this way, and to some degree there's always been a level of organization. Has it always been consistent? Have I always been obedient to to that degree, when we kind of talk about staying on the right path and not having a lot of fraganaggle? Not all the time, but the early years of me, I never liked disorganization. Okay. I definitely worked best within a schedule. Okay. But was I always consistent? Not really. I wouldn't say I was always consistent. I would say that there were probably a lot of times where I wanted to be like other kids, and I wanted to do things that the other kids were doing because I like to socialize. I mean, Ashley Schuler, I like to socialize. Definitely a lot in my younger years. And if you want to fast forward, well, we are fast forwarding to today, but if I were to think about the DISC assessment, which is a scientific tool used on behavioral assessment, I'm a high, they would call interactive a high S, 88, okay, pace, and then an I, highly interactive. I am not someone that is, I would say, is like loud. Like, you're not like coming in like, hey, 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 hey. Like, like I'm not coming in, but I am coming in with excitement, with high energy. But unless it's called for, you'll see a lot of energy with me one-on-one with people. Like, I like to talk. Okay. And so once I get myself in the groove of in a scenario, I was talking. So therefore my socialization piece, right? Definitely was a factor in helping me not really stay as focused in terms of how I manage my time, because I was in these socialization streets. Yeah, I was through and through. I knew the importance of managing my time and managing my work, but not at the sacrifice of, like, socializing with my peers. I like a good hello. Like a good conversation. And I still do to this day. But there's definitely an element of social ash in the building. So that's what the big takeaway here is, that I was social. Uh, to some degree, I followed a plan and I had a schedule. I got the work done. Was I always consistent? Probably not. You know, probably not. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Um, so we're gonna look at the college years, and I went fast forward. Yeah, I went ahead and I fast forwarded to the college years because, for the most part, when it comes to like the early years and the college years, like there wasn't too much. Like I studied, I got better, right? Like I knew what I had to do, right? Again, more cousins, we're just more adult in this picture. And then here I am, college years, again, around the people, having a good time. I got into this pattern though, first 2 years of high school and first 2 years of college, because of me being extroverted. It took me a minute to get my time management thing like straight. Like, for instance, because I was heavily into the socializing, heavily into just wanting to be involved, all those things, wanting to be accepted, like, all of these types of things, the actual aspect of like managing the work definitely suffered. And so I spent junior and senior year, like in high school, and similar to college, like end of sophomore year, clicking that, girlfriend, you do not have that much time to just be playing around and having these reindeer games. Especially now, and it hit me for college. It was like, you got to make something of yourself, because now you gonna be a full-fledged adult. You're still a young adult, but at that time I was still into, like, I served as, what is it, black, what was it, what would they call me, the Black Alliance president, something. But knowing everybody, I was an RA. What else was I doing? All the things. Every year I wanted to know who the people were, the freshmen, leadership council, I in all of the things, right? Um, what else was going on? See, I wanted to also go to law school. Okay. Didn't cut it with the law school grades. Did not cut it. In fact, I actually wanted to be a judge. Someone I had a client the other day that was observing me in a meeting with another, we were working on something, and the client said, did you ever want to be a lawyer or a judge? And I said, I did. I said, that's a different story, and that's definitely a different live stream. But I did not get to law school, and nor did I get to being a judge or anything like that, because I honestly didn't manage my time well. I really didn't. I expected to perform at a certain level and that be okay, and just figure that I was a nice person and I did my best, and so I was going to get a great LSAT score. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That was not it. And so I had to learn, I had to become disciplined. I had to discipline myself. And I had to have a come to Jesus moment with the Lord about like where I was going before I was going out to the quote unquote real world, right? And so the college years helped me kick into high gear. All right, you need to abide by your schedule. Like you need to double down on getting serious about what you about. You gotta hang it up when you are when you're in the social spaces. You gotta learn how to turn it in. You gotta learn to get up. And I wasn't, and mind you, I was never a person that was like sleeping in or anything like that. I was pretty, like, I went to class. I honored my commitments, but I did not manage the time well all the time, consistently. But I definitely got myself into high gear junior and senior year. I had to cut it out. I had to cut it out, folks. I had to cut it out. I had to get real. with myself. And especially when I had to have that hard conversation with me and the Lord that was like, girlfriend, you're not going to law school. It is not happening. Not with what you were doing. I was not disciplined enough. I wasn't disciplined enough. So that's what happened. That's essentially what happened. I went to College of William and Mary, Williamsburg, Virginia, and then also went to grad school at George Mason for public policy. Yes, so that is that there. Okay. What do we got here? Adulting. Okay, adulting. You are looking at on the screen with, okay, where are we? Oh yes, with the two Caucasian women. Okay. I went through this program called, ooh, what was it called? It was a campaign. We did a campaign. Gosh. Something. Went to like a campaign camp for like a week, or was it 2 weeks? A week or so. Something like that. And then we were deployed off to Emily's List. Okay, so I went to this organization called Emily's List. Is it still alive? I just had to do a quick look through. Okay, so I went to Emily's List because I was still interested in politics, close to the law school type of thing. Still did not let go necessarily of the law school dream, but was like, oh, well, maybe I can go a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? I was like, maybe I can go a little bit later. And we still had to hang that dream up. We still had to, because my interest had changed. I had matured at that time. Okay. Emily's List is still rocking and rolling. Look at that. Okay. But they had a I guess you would call it, I guess it was an internship. Gosh, I don't know what it was, but it was a program where we essentially went through like politics boot camp, and then we were in DC. Where we at Georgetown, George Washington, one of the Georges, our American University. Can't remember. It was a wild time. But I went there, and then we would go and get deployed. We went deployed, and I was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I tell you what, if managing time was an issue way back when, okay, it was definitely going to be an issue then. But by that time, I, I had a little something. Okay, I was still coming into myself, but I was better with my habits, right? So we did Emily's List. And what was I? A field organizer. So I was knocking on doors. I think I did get chased by a dog. I think so. I'll go back to that story. Like I said, a wild time. It was very interesting. You see me, I got my little William Mary cap right there, okay, because I'm always gonna rep the tribe. So yeah, so Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and that's where I was. I was there, and I was helping this woman in the middle, Judy Hirsch. Shout out to the Hirsch family. And this was back in fall of 2008. So this was August 2008, and I finished in November 2008. Okay, so about 4 months. It was about 4 months. All right. So that time I was responsible for like work and like volunteers. So again, more practicing of my schedule and canvassing and having a supervisor and all of that. So that was like a huge thing for me too. Like having an employer and going through all those types of things. And those early years of Ashley Schuler was a time, people. It was definitely a time. I learned a lot about myself. I often did not have a lot of confidence in who I was, but I stuck to what I know. Like, even if you are going through a hard time, folks, there's certain little peaks even in the roughage. You know what I'm saying? And so as an adult, I had to grow up. I had to grow up. So I had to learn how to manage time. So I appreciate my early career because it did teach me and help me cut my teeth on managing time. In fact, I actually became an executive assistant with a nonprofit organization, the National Law Center on Homelessness and Poverty. I was in the EA. Well, if you're an EA, you work with a CEO, a founder, you gonna know something about time. I had to manage my time. I had to manage her time. I was managing other people's time. Okay. And so in this world of adulting, I knew that the superpower that I had that just had to be sharpened was that I always function best when I was inside of a system, when I had a schedule. So that's what I had to continually lean on. I couldn't be anybody else, right? Like I couldn't act like not having a schedule was Ashley Schuler. You know what I mean? Like I had to lean into that. So, what do we make of this, right? We go into grad school. You see me right here. This was my mother. We are in George Mason University. Um, Masters of Public Policy. Funny story about this. I got the wrong size of my what do you call the robe? It looked crazy. That's probably, excuse me, why you'll probably never see any graduation pictures in that. I had the wrong size. It was out of control. But in the adulting, in my adulting, I realized that, and again, grad school helped me with that. I worked, I had a job on campus, and I had classes, and I had a dog, and I actually had two at the time, and church. And that was about it. And so I had a schedule, and I had to get up, and I had to walk the dogs, and I had to get to campus, and I had to manage my schedule, and I was working 20 hours a week and doing my classwork as well. One summer, I had an internship at the White House Office of Administration. It was like procurement and all that. And I also had a contracting job as well, where I did 20 hours a week doing government contracting. And I took a class over the summer. So when we talk about how to manage and master time, this ain't no Fisher Price situation. This ain't no Fisher Price situation up in here. I had to I was cutting my teeth having that type of schedule. White House internship. I had a grad school class I was taking at night, and I was working doing government contracting, and still have the two dogs. Let us not forget the dogs must be walked. Both. Okay. But by this time, again, next level in time management. Grad school going to teach you about how to manage your time. Okay? Love it. So this is a journey, folks. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, early years, you know, I walked you through where I leaned into more of the social piece. I leaned in trying to be like the crowd, and I would get disorganized, and I wouldn't have necessarily the best grades, You know what I'm saying? And I didn't manage the time well, right? So let me hold on one second. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna go over here. All right, we're in the right spot. So we're gonna go over here, and I want to talk a little bit about the cost of disorganization because you know we don't talk enough about it. The question is, and it's a question on the bottom of this corner: have you counted the cost of disorganization? This is a question that I probably need you all to read and to write down. Have you counted the cost of disorganization? What's the price tag? What does it cost you? The definition of disorganization: lack of proper planning and control. And when we talk about it in parallel to time management, not having great time management skills means that you lack proper planning and control. It is the opposite. Disorganization is the opposite of time management. The inability to plan one's activities or affairs efficiently. Yeah? Yep. A breaking up of order or system. This is what disorganization is. Have we counted the cost? So the question then becomes, what's going on, Aisha? How are you? How are you? How are you? Let me wave to you. Have we counted the cost of disorganization? So the question then becomes, let's name these things of what has disorganization cost us. Wasted time, anxiety, loss of sleep, confusion, missed deadlines, being unprofessional. And let me zoom in just a tad bit. Poor decision making, loss of money, stress, confusion. Let's put something in the chat. What has disorganization cost you? We don't talk enough about the topic because we're often looking at how can I manage my time better? What are the strategies that I need? But no, let's stay here. Let's stay here on the cost of disorganization. I'd love to know it. I'd love to know it. The cost of it, right? What has it been for you? Has it been confusion? Has it been confusion? I love it. I love it. What else has it been for you? What else has it been for you? Stress, poor decision making, loss of sleep. What's going on, Amanda J? Missing deadlines, loss of money. We all can identify. But the question is, how long? How long will we count the cost? How much does it add up? So let's get into what we're going to talk about for the rest of this time that we're here. Time management is a biblical principle. And I want to start talking about this from this perspective. I wanted to set the stage of how we got here, the journey. Ups and downs, folks, with time management. Ups and downs, right? Okay. We're here because I want to share with you what I've been learning and how it's helped me. And then we'll get into some practical things. To understand time, and it's interesting because time from a human perspective is very much a, o'clock? Like, when is it going to happen? Like, timeline, calendar, all these types of things. We look at it from from a biblical perspective, created for purpose. I want to go with me to Genesis 1:26 and 28. I'm going to bring it up on the iPad. I'm going to go Old Testament 1:26. And then I want to go right here. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and the cattle, and all over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image, and in the image of God created he him, male and female, he created them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." Created for purpose. This struck me deeply as I began to study about managing time, because anytime that I was feeling like, I'm not getting nothing done, because I will tell you this: December 2021, or was it 2020? 2021. I blew up my time management system, following a lot of different types of methods and things that I saw and read, and all of these types of things. And I wasn't really effective, even in my goal setting. But something about understanding why you were created and being created for purpose means that it was done with intention. It wasn't done by accident. It wasn't done by happenstance. It wasn't done to squeeze you in at last minute. Created for purpose. Created for purpose. Created for purpose. Jeremiah 29:11. Let's go there with me. And so, where are we? Oh, here we go. 29:11. We're doing KJV, you guys. I feel very expert in that. For I know the plans. Oh, no, it's not. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. NLT says, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." It's intention. It's intention. It's the intentionality that you were created for purpose. It's the intentionality that God has plans for your life. For me, it was speaking of, if I'm being created for such purpose, if there is a plan for my life, that just means that I can't waste the time. That's what that spoke to me. Created for purpose. Esther. Let's go there, shall we? Esther. We are going to Esther. Mordecai requests Esther's help. And he says in Esther 4, so after Mordecai, finds out all about what Haman's trying to do, trying to kill all the people, slaughter a whole race, okay? Esther in the king's palace, all right? And Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, "Think not with thyself that thou shalt escape the king's house more than all the Jews. Oh, wait a minute. Am I on the right thing? Oh, no, I am. I'm good. KJV. Here we go. Here we are. 4:13, people. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself, and thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? NLT says, Mordecai sent this reply to Esther. Don't think for a moment that because you're in a place slow it down. Mordecai sent this reply to Esther. Don't think for a moment that because you're in the palace, you will escape when all other Jews are killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place, but you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this. So let's unpack this a bit, shall we? Going back to the beginning, I kind of did a fast Reader's Digest version of what's happening. Right? Queen Vashti, we have the king. She disobeyed the king's command, got booted. Open slot for the queen. Enter Mordecai, niece Esther, okay? Entered into the picture, came in, had a whole preparation period. She's in the king's palace. She doesn't really see the king that often, but there's a request. The king found favor and had favor with Esther. Mordecai finds out about Haman. Haman's a part of I guess his front office staff, you would say, for the king. Find out all about what Haman's gonna be doing, all the evil. Okay, so going on, DJ Rob Sachs. And Mordecai says, not today. He says, let me go and give a phone call to my niece. He's gonna roll up, call up Esther. Esther, we got a situation. The point is, in Esther 4:13 through 14, is again, it's timing, it's purpose, okay? Obedience. There's a lot to tie in here. There's a lot that I'm tying in here when I'm talking about created for purpose. You know, because Esther could have not, I guess, wanted to be, be obedient and be, go into and be a queen and all of that and go into that whole process. But you see, time is used twice. If you keep quiet at a time like this, meaning the environment, the circumstances, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place, but you and your relatives will die. Who knows if you were made queen for such a time as this? So that's what I mean by created for purpose. So powerful. Don't think that your mere existence is just whatever. It's timing, it's location, it's obedience. Created for purpose. So don't think that where you are in life, that you're supposed to be somewhere and I by this age, this is what was supposed to happen and all this other stuff. You were created for purpose. You were created for purpose. And the reason why I said not wasting God's time is because he intentionally placed Esther. He placed Mordecai. He placed Adam and Eve, Genesis 1:26 and 28, created for purpose. All right? You were created for purpose. And so every minute that you spend not being obedient and not being involved in the right things and around the wrong people and things, you're not honoring what it is that God has planned for you. It's not a guilt trip, because everything that I'm presenting here is something that has just been revealed to me. So the point is, in terms of being created for purpose, is to highlight the fact that your position and where God has you, the timing, why he created you, it's for purpose. It's not by happenstance. It's not just because. It's not because I can squeeze it in and I decided to just put you in on January 18th, 19, whatever, or 2000 and whatever, and just like, boop, there you were born. It was for purpose. Because he has specific times and he has specific things that he wants you to do with your life. All right, point number 2. Come through over 60 minutes. Setting boundaries. And again, these points are not in any particular order, except I wanted number 1 to be number 1, created for purpose. Setting boundaries, resting and recharging. An important aspect of time management is understanding your boundaries. That's understanding people boundaries. That's understanding your schedule, resting and recharging. So we go to Luke 4, 1 through 2. And Jesus, being full of the Holy Ghost, returned from Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil. And in those days, he did eat nothing. And when they were ended, he afterward hungered. Come on, KJV. NLT says, then Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan River. He was led by the Spirit in the wilderness, where he was tempted by the devil for 40 days. Jesus ate nothing all that time and became very hungry. Then we're going to skip down to verses 14 and 15. And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all the region round about. And he taught in synagogues, being glorified of all. NLT version says, then Jesus returned to Galilee, filled with the Holy Spirit's power. Reports about him spread quickly through the whole region. He taught regularly in their synagogues and was praised by everyone. Okay? Resting and recharging. All right? To prepare for a major task. What they're saying here is that after Jesus, who was filled by the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan River, led by the Spirit in the wilderness, where he was tempted by the devil for 40 days. Okay? If you think about it, there's many times that Jesus retreated. Okay? He went away. He went away for preparation. Okay? And we have to remember when we're talking about time management, we're talking about resting and recharging. We're talking about sometimes we got to pull away, right? Sometimes we have to set the boundaries, right? Make sure you put in the comments if this makes sense. If you want to send me a DM, if you want me to break anything down even more. But I started studying and seeing Jesus set boundaries. Okay? He set boundaries. Before making an important decision, we're going to go to Luke. Where are we going? 6? Let me go to Luke 6. And it came to pass in those days that he went out into the mountain to pray and continued all night in prayer to God. Before making important decisions, retreat and pray. Set your boundaries. Go to God in prayer before making important decisions. That's the point. That's the point. Now, you may need to fast. Okay? So something else to think about, especially going back to that Luke 4:1-2, you may need to fast for 40 days, for 21 days, for 7 days, for 3 days. Right? You may need to do that. And we're talking about spiritual fast, or we're talking about no food. Now, if you want to do something like, no TV, that's, we're talking about a restriction. We're talking about a restriction. So if you're going to prepare for something, if you're going to go into making a big decision, you're going to have to put some boundaries on your time and your calendar, and even for people and activities. You may have to do that to recharge, to rest, to set boundaries. And in order to be effective in terms of being creative for purpose, you got to recognize that. Make sense? Does it make sense? How y'all feeling out there? Y'all feeling good? All right. Planning. Come on, somebody. I know somebody's excited about this one. Come on. This is good. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead only to plenty, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. Come on. The plans of the diligent lead only to plenty, but everyone who is hasty only come to poverty. What does diligent mean? I'm so glad that you asked that question. Diligent, having or showing care or conscientiousness in one's work or duties. Planning. In the day and age of launch this, do that, make a move, bust a move, go ahead and do it. You're taking too long. Planning. There is power in planning. This is not to say that you plan forever, meaning that you're just sitting and not doing anything. There's a difference between that and like you're planning and you can execute while you're in the planning stages. Yes, you can. But those that are conscientious, lead only to plenty. But everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. Which means that if you have a launch, if you have a service, if you have a product, and you're just rushing to get it out there, it'll only lead to poverty. What's the definition of poverty? Let's look it up. Poverty is not about having enough money to meet basic needs, include food, clothing, and shelter. Okay, what other? It's the state of one who lacks a usual or socially acceptable amount of money or material possessions. Lack of basic needs. Yeah. That's what that means. Okay. So what I will say and impress upon you all is that when it comes to planning, especially the projects, virtual events, membership groups, what have you, sit with yourself, a team member, a trusted friend, an advisor. You have an idea. And this is to all people, because I've been having some really good conversations with folks, exciting conversations about wanting to get things done, right? Wanting to press the button and wanting to just go. Excited about the idea, excited about where the idea can take them. And I'm usually asked these questions in terms of, hey, I see your skill set, you know, you organized, and you know how to help us get it done. And truth be told, I haven't met a project that didn't like me. That's the truth right there. Haven't met a project that hasn't liked me. But there's critical questions that are in these project initiation, project planning, these beginning stages that we really need to start to hone in on. Because when you have the plan in place, it's easy to get to the executing and the work. This is not to say too that you got to have everything up front and like I said, not move and not go. But the planning piece is understanding what's the vision, what's the goal, what are the KPIs, what's the deliverables, what are the outcomes, who is my target audience, what, these things. Who do I need? What do I need? What's the strategy? That comes in the planning. You know what I'm saying? That comes in the planning. Okay? So the planning piece, Proverbs 21:5, the plans of the diligent lead only to plenty, but everyone who is hasty only comes to poverty. The word diligent, having or showing care and conscientiousness in one's work or duties. May you be conscientious. May you be conscientious in the work that you're doing. May you take care in everything that you do. But don't be hasty about your plans, because you'll end up in poverty. You'll end up on the other side of the street. You'll end up, on the ground, I guess, falling down, So planning, take your time. You don't have to stand still and not do anything, but create a plan, move, plan, take another step. Point number 4, work ethic. Something that I had to build and strengthen. You saw early in the live stream where I walked you through the adolescent journey. You saw the pictures and then the college years and all that. You saw all of that. I had to work on my work ethic. I did not have a strong work ethic. I did not. Proverbs 14:23 says, in all hard work, there is profit, but merely talking about it only brings poverty. You see what I'm saying? This poverty definition, I tell you, is quite popular. I tell you. In all hard work, there is profit. There is profit. Let's look up the word profit. Hard work. It is not enough, people, to just talk. And I myself, because I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to you, we done did a lot of this and a lot of that. And then no movement. No movement. Okay. Profit. Definition of profit. But a financial gain, especially between the amount earned and the amount spent. And there's different aspects of there's financial benefit, I think there's other aspects of profit that you can add into it. Hard work, which means that the planning, that's why it says in Proverbs 21:5, the plans of the diligent, those that are conscientious about the work. That's why it says that, because planning and doing the work, you will only increase your work ethic. You cannot talk about what it is that you want to do. You must have a plan. You must work hard. You must do that. Merely talking about it only brings poverty. It just can't be. It just can't be that you're just going to talk about doing something. In all hard work, there is profit. It will pay off if you put together the plan and you go about the steps and you go and you execute and you do the work. Now, I don't, again, there's different things of strategy and, how much profit, all that, that's going to be a whole different story. Whole different story. So that's planning, that's profit. Okay. Let's get into the last one. Last one's a good one. Stop wasting time. Look, the title of the live stream, Not Wasting God's Time. Psalms 90:12 says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. It goes back to created for purpose, Genesis 1:26 and 28, in Jeremiah 29:11, in the story on Esther. Okay. Stop wasting time. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Our days are numbered. We were created for purpose, for intention. Therefore, we cannot be wasteful in our time. What does that mean, Ashley? So glad you asked. That means that we can't just sit and think about what we want to do, complain about where we are. We have our days numbered. We must look at this right here, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. That is what King Saul asked for. He could have all he got all he had all this wealth anyway, right? But he asked for wisdom and discernment. Let me tell you, he ranked that above all that money and above all the land and the assets and all that. And he got all that anyway. Teach us to number our days. We must understand that we are created for purpose. We were created to fulfill an assignment. Our time is not to be wasted. So may we ask for wisdom so that we can understand, God, where is it that you want me planted? Where is it that you want me to utilize my gifts? Where is it that you want me to serve? How is it that you want me to create this business, lead in my organization, create this nonprofit, serve in my church, whatever the assignment is. Again, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. May we understand that we do not have time to waste. May our hearts be open to the wisdom that God places inside of us so that we can understand what it is that we need to do. Now, those are the big five. And we're going to get straight into some practical next steps. All right. Goal setting. Knowing who you are and managing the work. Prioritizing your goals helps you to account for your time. Hello, Carlette. So we've gone through the top five of how we can manage our time, that from a biblical perspective. And now we want to get into practical applications of time management. Goal setting. You can do it in a number of ways. Road mapping, OKRs, SMART goals, what have you. Make sure it's timely, measurable, all those types of things. Make it whatever it is that you want. I don't want to prescribe you to a particular formula. But make it real, make it tangible, make sure it has a deadline, make sure it has some sort of number attached to it. Okay? Goal setting helps you to account for your time. Many people say, oh no, goal setting is a waste of time and da da da. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if I've subscribed to that philosophy yet. I do believe that you should have things that you should be working towards. Now, will you have goals that, they may have multiple steps and that you have to figure out? Yeah. But I do believe you should be working towards something. I don't know what it could be. It could be many things. It could be in a certain amount of books per year. It could be a promotion. It could be, I want to save up for a vacation, whatever it is. But it all comes down to how you're going to manage your time anyway. So make sure that you are outlining your goals. What is it you want to do for 2023? What is it you want to do in the next 90 days, 60 days? What do you want to do in the next month? Knowing who you are, self-assessing, practical things. Strength finders, big fan of strength finders and disc. They're probably like neck and neck for me, but I like these self-assessments because I believe that they're true to how you behave, and your tendencies. Shout out to Juan Alvarado, Strength Finders coach, on the upcoming season of Conversations with Ask Ash, where we talk about team communication. But knowing who you are, practical things that you can do. You can take an assessment, of course, right? That's important. Also, knowing simple things like I work better in the morning than at night. Do the hard things in the morning and do things that are not taxing at night. Huh? Very good, huh? Practical things, people. Practical things. Managing the work. Oh, I love this. This is a little dark though. Hold on. Let me can I change the color? I'm gonna change the color really quickly. Adopting a calendar management tool and a project management tool will be critical to your success. We are headed into 2023, and no longer should we be saying, I don't have a Google Calendar or my iOS calendar or whatever calendar that you use. No longer. It's 2023. If you do not have a calendar, if you're not managing in some form or fashion what you need to do for the week, right? And again, I'm not saying you have to have everything color coded and every block accounted for. What I'm saying is that when people are saying I don't have a schedule and then they want to get to a particular goal and they don't have it, that's when it becomes problematic. Not when it's like I don't want to have a stringent schedule or like I know what I need to do for the day. Like it's different. There's different philosophies out there. I'm just saying that in order to account for how you're going to spend your time, you need to have a calendar. For phone calls, coffee chats. Let me tell you something. I'm trying to be loose and fancy free and have people just call me and all this other type of stuff. But man, I tell you, it's a bit challenging because I'd be missing phone calls. But I like the intention because I feel at times, sometimes I feel a little weird, just sending a scheduler out to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Be like, let me get you on my calendar. I feel a little weird about that. But it's mainly because I want some focused time and I don't want to forget to call people. Now, there are some people that, we just have that rapport and we could just say, hey, can I call you at this time? Cool. Boom. Right? So adopt a calendar management tool and a task management tool, meaning that every day you have something on there that you need to take care of. I'm not saying it has to be all work and no play. But I'm saying is that somewhere, somehow, you should be having a roadmap on what you need to get done. a roadmap in what you need to get done. As we head into 2023, here are some of the things that we really need to make sure that we have in place. Spend this week, spend next week, but that should be solidified into a practical best practice and habit in terms of upping your level of time management when it comes to that. All right. Well, this is the end of the road, everyone. I thank you so much for being a part of this live stream. We'll see you next week. We do have a guest next week. It's going to be very exciting. We have a great guest next week, Brooke Jean, and it's going to be fantastic. We're going to be talking all about operations, and she's going to be talking a lot about business operations 101. We're going to talk about some of the corporate clients, some really cool stuff that we have in store. And then I will have the rest of the schedule for the rest of December up. We're going to be talking mainly project workflows. We're going to talk a lot about, project workflows inside of ClickUp. We're going to do some whiteboarding. We're going to have a good old time just walking through, what do statuses mean and different types of things. And so, yeah, that's all that we have. Thank you so much, man. We're in OT, but we're going to leave this up for the time being so that you guys can go back, take some notes, direct message me if you have any questions or comments. This has been fun. And we'll definitely revisit this topic in the future. Bye.